Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm Shayna Cersei and I'm so excited to paint with you again today. Today we're going to be doing another day in our watercolor journal books. So if you're new here, go check out the over 100 plus other days in our watercolor journal books earlier than this. But we're going to do another ink and wash today where we're going to be combining watercolor paint with pen. So I'm excited to do that with you. So supplies and materials real quick. I have a 6x9 Bao Hong watercolor sketchbook. This is 100% cotton, 140 pound cold press. I am using Core QOR by Golden watercolor paints. That's my preferred brand, but there's a million of them out there. So whatever you have will work great for you. And then I'm also using Princeton Select brushes today. Or no, Princeton, sorry, these are Velvet Touch brushes. I have a size 10, a size 4, and then I also have a Princeton Select liner brush, a script liner that I might use, I'm not sure. And then I have some fine liner illustration pens. The only thing that's really important to make sure of when picking out your pens is that they are permanent or archival ink so that they are waterproof. They won't run once they're dry with water if you end up applying more watercolor over top of them. For this particular painting, we're going to do watercolor first and then ink on top. Similar to a couple of pages ago, we did these really loose, wide-petaled flowers, and then we drew kind of the outline on top. Let me see if I can find them really quick. These. We did all of the watercolor that in a really loose format first, and then we drew some structured lines on top. We're going to do that again today, similarly, but with a different type of flower. So we're going to do, we're going to do a cone flower or echinacea, which are some of my favorite flowers to paint. I've painted them often. All right, so I'm going to try to stay loose on this, remembering I'm going to bring structure to it later with the ink. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plan out my colors. I am going to use this Diarylide yellow, which is a very warm yellow, kind of like a gamboge yellow, but anything that's warm. It looks like yellow, but almost bordering on orange, okay? I'm also going to pop in here. I have this really brilliant, what color is this? This is a transparent Pyrrol orange, so it's this really bright orange. So these two colors for the center of my flower. And then, of course, my fabulous Quinacridone Magenta. And then the more water I add, the lighter it will get. So if I just took a little bit of this and added it over here and added lots and lots of water, we'd have a really pale pink color. Okay. So I'm going to start with this, and of course I'm going to introduce some sap green for my stems at the end. So I'm a little nervous about this one. I'm not sure how it's going to come out. All right, so I'm going to start with my lightest color, my yellow, for my center. I think I'm going to do two of them. I'm going to do them coming up this way. So I'm going to put my center here. Again, trying to stay nice and loose, so a big kind of gumdrop shaped center, and then I'll do one further up here. Remember, the majority of this flower is below this gumdrop center, so that part can be pretty much the highest part. I'm going to do two of those over there, and then I am going to add this orange kind of around the edges. Add some more yellow. And ultimately what I'm going for at the end, I'm going to add a lot of ink to this, is kind of this glowing orangey feel to it. And I think that will come across more when we add more of the ink. And we can put in shadows. I'm going to put in shadows with ink. All right, so for my petals, I'm trying to be looser, so really just not trying to have them be too structured. It's really hard. So I backed my fingers up on the brush. Oh, they're going to overlap. That was not my intention when I first planned them out. But it is what it is. And I might even have, so you can see I'm just adding, I didn't even use the lighter pink, I just picked up a lot more water. And I'm adding a lot of kind of overlapping, making them really full and not worrying too much about overlapping petals on petals. Sorry, my words aren't coming out. Okay, so I think that's good. Those are two, they're big, they're beautiful, they're bright. And I'm gonna go in with a little more orange now that these are mostly dry. Around the edges here, I'm gonna let it bleed a little. I'm not worried about that. There, those are beautiful. Oh my gosh, I could leave them just like that, I think. Some stuff would drive me crazy later, but all right, let's get some green in there because we need some kind of stem. So basically what I'm doing is I'm kind of eyeballing where the center of that, the top is. Of course, my clip is in the way, and I'm just coming down from there. And then I'm going to just do, I'm not going to go crazy with the greenery. Do one or two. Leaves. Okay, now we have to let everything dry, and then we're going to come back with our ink and make some magic happen, hopefully, fingers crossed. All right, we're back. Okay, so I think this is the one I'm going to use. Some of my pens are dying, but I have a size 3 micron, Pigma micron pen. Again, it's archival ink. If I wanted to add water over top of this, I know it's going to be permanent. I know it's going to not run with water or moisture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start drawing in the centers. I think, don't hold me to this later on in the video, but I want this to be super detailed. And then as I go away, it's going to get less and less detailed. It's going to be looser. So around this cone area, I'm going to start making these little loops. And I'm going to go all the way around the edge. And now the very bottom of this is going to be very, what's the word? Compact. It's going to have a lot of these really close together. And then as we go up and out, they are going to get further and further away from each other. So I'm so sorry. During this part of the video, I'm probably not going to do a lot of talking because I'm actually concentrating. So if you want to fast forward through this part, this would be a good part to do that, unless you just want to watch me make all of these hundreds of little loops. And you can see as I'm going up, I'm spreading them out, incrementally kind of getting wider and wider. And I'm kind of going in a pattern, kind of this somewhat circular pattern, or rounded. I am going to make them a little darker on the edges here. And I'm going to go back in and make these even darker. As we get further down. So sometimes with ink you have to layer just like you do with watercolor. So I want these to go darker, so I'm putting another layer. And I want it to be very, very dark right at the edge. All right, I'm going to leave it for now. I might go back and add a little bit more, but that feels good to me. So now let's tackle these fabulous petals. Now I'm going to try to stay true to some of the shapes here, but I'm not going to let them dictate or push me around too much. Like I'm going to follow the general shape, as you can see here. I'm going to go behind here on that one. And this one's going to come in front, so they're kind of mixed together. But I don't have to go right to the edge of there if I don't want to. There we go. And now I'm going to start adding shading with my closer to the center. Making the lines of the edges of the flowers a little darker than the ones that are like the creases in the center. You can change the size of your pen too if you have different sizes. Like I could go down to like a 0.005. I don't know if I have a really thin one. Oh no, that's a much thicker one. Again, I'm doing lots of shading right at the center here. And then just more wispier lines towards the top. And then again on the edges, you might want to make it a little heavier. But But again, once you get the gist of what I'm doing and you want to follow along, you don't necessarily have to watch me do all of this for eternity. And I'm going to move on to the other one in just a moment. We definitely have to add fabulous. All right, what are we going to do with this stem here? I'm not happy with how thick it actually came out. So I'm going to bring my line kind of to the inside of that thick green area. Not that it's going to make a huge difference. And you can do the same thing with your leaves. You can just add some lines. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing with this one. And I am probably going to skip or fast forward that part. Otherwise, this will be a very, very long video. But I'm going to start the same way. I'm going to start by just doing lots of little loops kind of around the edge or where I want the perimeter to be. I'm going to do lots of layering down here. And as I get further up towards the top, I will spread them out so that I see that nice glow of the center of like the orangey part coming out. All right, so I'll see you back in just a moment for our finished piece. Get to work. All right, here we are, just finishing up. You know what would be fun to add to this one, I think, is to even do a third one up here that's completely ink, black and white. Might be cool. I added a few leaves like that, just no green in them. This was fun. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed all of the ink work that we got to do. And you can keep going and get as detailed as you want. And again, if you wanted to go back over this with some more color, you could, but I love it just the way it is. I love this black detail in the center and how it really makes them pop out. So thanks so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to check out the description for links to all my supplies and materials. Like the video, share with a friend. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new, and share with someone that you think might also enjoy this. All right, y'all, take care and happy painting.